What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're just going to be straight up glazing my favorite character from 2024, being cross-skilled. Like, even though I say in multiple times, like, this character is like my favorite unit that's come out in the last year or so, it's actually been a while since I've used him like directly as a captain. And in this video, I kind of wanted to, like, specifically the other two clips, there's going to be 3 clips in this video. The first one here you're seeing is against San Juan Wolf. Not a real difficult, arena, to be honest. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of gimmicks, but, like, the final boss has, like, a ton of HP. I mean, when you look at it in standards, like, PKA and like, Super Boss Kizuna, it doesn't have that much HP, but just the raw damage you get just from activating just the rush by itself is really good. My cross skill is at rush level 4, so I am 1 away from getting him completely rainbowed out. Even at level 4, like, the damage you get from it is quite crazy. But I mean, there's so many great aspects as to why this character is so good. Like, the captain ability just by itself is actually pretty solid overall. You got cooldown reduction. It says also that it reduces this character's special charge time by a further 3 turns at the start of the quest. So technically at the start, this character has minus 4 turns of cooldown for their self. You get the 5.5 times attack boost for both Driven and Slasher, which is what they are focused on mainly, is both Driven and Slasher classes. 1.3 times HP, and then it says it boosts the attack of characters that are Driven characters or Slashers with a cost of 40 or less by 6 times. So characters that have that low cost threshold get a much larger attack boost. This character themselves will only still receive the 5.5 times attack boost, which is not really that big of a deal. And then it also tandem slots will be matching. You also get 20% damage reduction, so like captain ability wise, it's actually pretty tanky with the 1.3 times health, 20% damage reduction, just generically just reducing damage by quite a fair margin. And they do have a utility component in their captain ability as well, which some people actually completely forget about. But it says anytime you're inflicted with despair, it actually changes the effect to instead it will reduce the cooldowns of your top row characters by 2 turns. So this is very similar to characters like Momonosuke, for example, like the Psy Legend Momo, where it says anytime you're inflicted with bind, you just remove it and do another effect instead. I think his one is like +1 turns to attack buffs on your side of the field, but this guy just gives himself minus 2 turns of cooldown, or gives both the top row characters minus 2 turns of cooldown, which this character is very centered around, like, giving this character as much cooldown as possible so that you can activate this character special multiple times per turn. And it's a further extension of that, with the EX Super being incredibly powerful, because not only is there, like, there's a condition of it where you need to have 2 of the listed characters, which can be a little annoying, but there is an additional condition that you can fulfill in order to activate the EX Super, which is just kill an enemy that has set target status. And considering the fact that, you know, cross-skilled, when you first activate their special ability, will inflict set target status, and it doesn't have to be cross-skilled themselves that gets the knockout. It's just as long as anyone on your crew kills someone with set target status, it'll allow you to trigger that EX Super, which gives themselves, or gives the whole crew, minus 2 turns of cooldown. And then it also gives a final tap bonus to your next Driven or Slasher unit by a 20%, and a 15% resistance down for Driven and Slasher characters as well. And then both of those classes will become super classes, both Driven and Slasher. And you can see just with the level 4 rush by themselves, with all of these buffs activated, that's all the damage that we needed. And it's a really cool animation. If you guys actually go back and have a look at the animation of the Rush Sugo special, Crocodile and Mihawk actually throw Buggy's head at the enemy. Like, it's just so much character in this unit, which I absolutely love. So we're moving a little bit on now to the Queen arena, which I'd say is, it's somewhat difficult, I would say. I think that the next arena, like the final clip, I think it is currently the most difficult arena in the game, just because of, like, really weird gimmicks that are kind of annoying to get around. We'll talk about that once we get to it. But against Queen, it does have a little bit, like, annoying stuff where, you know, on the final stage, you kind of, like, have to carry an attack or an orb boost into the final stage, because if you activate attack or orb boost on the final stage, he triggers and he does, like, really annoying interrupt stuff. So that's one component as to why it's annoying. There's a lot of defensive effects, barriers, damage threshold, damage reduction. So, like, this whole arena was basically during the release of the Dex, Dogstorm, and Cat Viper, which of course work really well for this arena. This stage is also really annoying too, because even though you bring characters that are ignoring defensive effects, base defense is still something that you have to get through. Luckily for cross-skilled, when you activate their special for the secondary time, you also get the ability of, like, fixed damage, you get an orb boost for your Driven and Slasher for 2 turns, but it also removes 6 turns of enemies' increased defense and 6 turns of enemies' damage threshold. So it has great utility in the captain, great utility with the special ability, boosting effects with set target status or boost, and then if you activate their special for the third time, you get a 3.0 chain boundary for 3 turns, and you get a 20% resistance down for Driven and Slasher. They also, in their third activation, remove 6 turns of Despair, which is pretty good if they're a crewmate. And in most instances, if you are using them as a crewmate, you're probably not getting to the third activation. It already is pretty difficult to activate this character special twice in 1 turn. Getting it to activate 3 times in 1 turn when they're not the captain is actually really difficult to do, so you're probably not going to see that too often. But hey, it's an option that you have available. You can use their special and you know, get the ton of that cooldown just by nature of how their special actually works. And of course, that, you know, I would highly suggest if you have this character and it's a character that you do use often, Limit Break expanding this character is definitely well worth it. With the way the character is designed, when they use their special, they give themselves what is it, minus 13 turns of cooldown. And that's really, really good. However, when you have the character at base level, I think their cooldown is 16. And when you Limit Break expand them, it goes to 15, which means when you activate their EX Super, it does allow you to get the special back immediately. If you don't have them Limit Break expanded, you will require further turns of cooldown. So this is one of the rare instances where expanding a unit is incredibly valuable. Typically, characters, when they come out, when they have their expansion, the only real reason why you would do it is to just get like additional statistics, which helps in Super Boss Kizuna in some very rare circumstances. But most of the time, I feel like 99% of the time when a character comes out, you definitely don't need to Limit Break expand them. However, as I said, this is one of the rare instances where it actually helps the character function as intended if you have the expansion on them. So against this Queen Arena, we have their second special, which removes the Threshold. We remove the Rainbow Shield via this Shank special ability here, and then we can go ahead and do as much damage as we possibly can. And then when we get to the final clip of this video, which is against the Hawkins Arena, which I would say if you're going to look at an arena to complete, I feel like this is probably one of the more difficult ones, mainly due to the fact that there's so much attack down, and especially Hawkins on the final stage with his ability to revive. Yeah, you have to like tank a death hit as well, there's special reverse on the final stage, slot change as well, and then like you have to tank the death hit when he also gives you increased damage taken, so the damage reduction that you have must be pretty substantial. And then he revives and then gives you poison slots, but he doesn't poison you, which means that you have to actually have a special that is able to remove poison. Or the very smart thing to do is to have slots that you really want to keep, like you could use Wano slots or Rainbow slots, or you slot change Impossible, which is what I do in this circumstance right here. Being able to use Perispero to not only slot change Impossible, our slots, so that the enemy can't give us poison slots, but also Perispero gives a very significant damage reduction, allowing us to tank the hit on the final stage too. On this one as well, this limited rare recruit pudding, I believe she is available in the Sugo Medal Exchange. She's actually incredible. She's really good for this like one piece of content, mainly due to her special basically countering everything on stage 4. Like, it's a very rare combination of effects that she does. She gets around the block slots, she gets around the Rainbow Shield damage reduction, she gets around the resilience, she just, and the special bind as well. Like, she's like the perfect unit for this stage. The only thing you have to do is get rid of the bind, which we're able to do via some support effects, which is great. And then pudding basically deals with the rest. And of course, when we're using this kind of team setup with double cross guild, the fact that we have all of these different special activations with cross guild, where on some stages we can get set target status, other stages we can get the orb boost. If we need to remove the increased defense or damage threshold on a later stage, we can plan our team accordingly so that we activate their second level special on that specific stage. And then when it comes down to it, if you do get their third activation, you can get a chain boundary on top of it as well, which does last for multiple turns. And because chain boundary is considered a negative debuff, quote unquote, like the enemy can't remove it off of you, which is another really incredible effect that they have. And of course, every time you're using their special ability, you're getting so many different benefits, and then their EX Super, being able to charge their cooldown back to use their special again. But it also, every time you're using that EX Super, you're getting the effect of final tap bonuses, so your final tap character will do even more damage as long as they're driven or slasher, and you also get the resistance down, which is further damage increase. So I feel like this character is like the perfect unit of, you know, increasing your damage, also having pretty decent utility, and also, you know, Driven and Slasher have pretty good units overall, so they have great synergy with some other great characters that have been releasing over the past year or so. But, you know, that's my video just absolutely glazing one of my favorite units in 2024. I think this character is amazing, and I really hope we see more characters on this level with very unique designs. Like, there's no other character like Cross Guild that does what they do. They're just very, very unique, and it has a lot of character with their animations, the visuals, the aesthetics. Absolutely love this character. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about Cross Guild down below in the comment section. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
どうなる俺の人生